by Andrea Rose Washington.
Hello.
She is the author of Adalithia, A Lindell and Almond Tree's Magic. And we are also joined by Jocelyn Short.
Yo.
She's a concept artist and illustrator and creator of a series soon to come out called Bearers. We're looking for that comic to come out. We are also joined by Jordan Purnell Jackson.
Hey, everybody.
He is a creator. He is an illustrator, graphic artist. He made Eve of Insurrection comic and Eve of Reclamation. He is also the illustrator for the Ancient Illumination graphic novels, as well as Yambani Chronicles comic books. And we are just about done with issue 2 of Yambani Chronicles, Nyoka Ekanane. And then we're going to put that out here pretty soon. So if you're interested in any of our creative endeavors, don't be afraid to look at the description of the episode when I upload it to Spotify for podcasters, and there will be links to all of our things. Hello, Blueberry Bean. Just hop in the chat. Just to let you know, spoiler alert, we are now talking the finale of Monarch Legacy of Monsters on Apple TV Plus. So if you have not watched at least up until the finale, if you haven't finished the series, spoilers ahead.
We're gonna ruin everything for you.
He sure is.
Good,
So
good.
got my little notes here. Just finished rewatching. We open Axis Mundi, which is the title of this episode, with Kate meeting Keiko. So taking off from the end of the last episode, and she is understandably a little starstruck, at a loss for words, and meeting her grandma in real time for the first time. And it's funny because Keiko thinks it's a rescue team coming, so she asks for Billy and immediately sets Kate off. She starts freaking out, remembering that she didn't come by herself. What do you guys think about this opener?
I liked it.
Yeah.
I just wished Kate would have been a little bit more adult in that manner and not so I wish she just would have just said what I said the last episode. I wish she would have been like, "You're my grandma." I wish she just would have laid it out there. I wish she would have been the one to say it. So the opening was great, but I just the only thing for me was missing was Kate being the one saying, in that moment,
"Oh
my God, you're still alive. Oh my God, I know who you are." Something else besides, I'm here with friends. I gotta find them.
We gotta find those. She starts freaking out. Yeah. I was getting the flashback. I was thinking maybe Airplane, the old OG. I'm probably too young about that movie when everybody was shaking. The girl was freaking out in the plane. Everybody slapped her. I thought the grandma was going to have to. Hey kid, calm down. Get a hold of yourself.
I know that from Family Guy, not from the movie, but I know it's from that movie.
At least you didn't bring up the jive from Soul.
Airplane.
That's the part I know. But anyways, that scene was for me, it's funny because I kind of like when we get to the reveal of how Kate kind of says it. I don't know, it has more emotional weight to it. But logically, she probably should have said who I am. But for the sake of a film, it had more kind of more drama to it. When she reveals that she's her granddaughter.
Yeah, I agree.
It would be a weird opener, though, right?
I mean,
your friends almost died. Kind of looking for your friends.
I would say no, just because if it's a finale episode and it's picking up right where we left off, I'm not mad at it,
But I just think it would have been kind of weird if that's the first thing Kate said. She's freaking out. She just shot that big board thing. She looks over and be like, "Your grandma."
Well, not like that.
This sounds like an old movie now. Your grandma.
Grandma. If you're gonna freak out, be like, "Oh, you're alive."
Bad writing.
Let it be known that she knows who she is, more forcefully, versus so starstruck.
But she does reveal that she knows who she is, because she's like, "You're Keiko Rana." She just doesn't reveal their relationship right away.
And she should have.
She could.
I don't know.
I mean, it's fine if we don't agree on it, because obviously
my
opinion was wrong because they didn't do it. So.
I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying she does tell her like she knows who she is. I was because it was obvious, like you're Keiko Randa, and then she's like, yeah. She's like, who are you? Like, who are you expecting? You know, and then, but yeah, she doesn't reciprocate and be like and give her name like.
I'm Kate Randa.
Kate Randa. Yeah.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah. That would have been funny. Yeah. Anything more to add about that, Jocelyn?
I was just gonna say, like, yeah, she should have just said her name was Kate, but also, whenever characters are in situations such as these that are dire and extraneous, and like, what is like they're on Earth, but not really, kind of like I don't expect anybody to act right in these situations.
Exactly.
Understandable.
I mean, who has time for introduction when, like, you're trying to survive?
Yeah. She does say Kate. I'm Kate, but she cuts it off there. She's like,
that's all you get right now is Kate. I don't want to spoil. She was like, I don't want to spoil this. I'm not going to spoil this for you.
It's time to panic. Now it's time.
But we also know that family has a lot of issues when it comes to, being a family. So
yeah.
Nobody got it right. Ain't nobody gonna get it together. So
yeah.
I do like that this was kind of one cohesive show, and that we didn't get so much of the time jumps until the very end, because then we just flashed to Tokyo, and we're not giving it a year. It's Tokyo. We know it's still in the same year, at least relatively at the time. Ken confronts Pops about what he's been doing, what he's been up to. I find it interesting that he kind of blames Monarch, which is kind of weird to me. Like, these Titan things exist separate from Monarch existing. That to me, it's kind of almost like a natural disaster that may or may not have happened. Regardless, I don't see why you'd be like, "Oh, this is Monarch's fault. Y'all did this." Like, no, this is kind of going to happen anyway. You can't control it.
And it's smart to try and track it so you can be prepared ahead of time of like knowing where. Now, maybe contacting them, that's stupid.
That's wild.
But like tracking them to know, oh hey, they're going to explode in San Francisco. Maybe let's do an evacuation 2 or 3 days ahead of time so we can limit the cost of like the lives that are going to be lost.
Yeah.
But yes, I will concede that trying to contact and like have a little phone for the Titans, like, oh, what's up? We got some people up here. Can you come up here? Like, that's stupid.
Titan phone is crazy. AT&T reach out and touch someone, and they're gonna reach out and touch back is the problem.
Like, track them all you want. Track them. Like, hey, oh, they're on the west side. Let's go to the east side. Like, oh, let me know where not to be.
Yeah.
But don't call them to where I'm currently at.
Yeah, don't do that. Pops asked Ken to work, with them, and then Kentaro's like, "Yeah, I'll come to work for you if you can answer me one question." And he already does. I guess it's a pseudo kind of what Jocelyn. This little confrontation you wanted, but just not as aggressive as you want him to throw hands. He's like, "Yeah, I'll come work for you if you can basically tell me why you did what you did." And Hiroshi's basically like, "You worried about the wrong thing."
Deflection. Deflecting.
Like, really? You all this is going on. You worried about this now? Like, yeah, I'm kind of worried about this right now.
That man needs to get jumped.
He needs therapy. He has abandonment issues, and so instead of letting people abandon him, he is abandoning everyone to their face and blaming it on them.
He needs to get jumped.
Poor generational curse.
Sometimes if people get jumped, they stop doing things that they've been doing that are harmful. He needs to get mollywopped. He needs to get swept across the floor is what needs to happen.
The Askari cast does not advocate violence.
I do.
In certain contexts, yes, we do. Let's be accurate. In certain contexts, yes, I think we all advocate violence.
I do.
Yeah.
Right now is the time.
I don't know if that would have solved it, because he's in his eyes, he's seeing Godzilla do the jumping, and it's like, if you can't jump me more than that, then
I mean that's okay, but I could get some licks in. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm not Godzilla, but I can. Godzilla can slap. I can slap. It's not gonna hit as hard. You might not die.
Yeah.
So, but like
you gonna
for
feel what I
him,
got
I
for you.
don't feel like
Okay.
hitting would do anything for him because there are some people who, yes, if you lay your hands on them, they're like, oh, maybe I did push it too far to the point where they were like,
I guarantee you.
But I feel like for that father, you have to hit him where it hurts.
I
And
think
for
you
him,
have to do
it's like
both.
believing his family cares about him.
I
And
think
like
both.
taking that away.
I think both needs to happen because I know. I know. I've heard from several people who have had to fight, like especially sons who've had to fight their dads. If you win, that's it.
I'm not negating that. I'm not negating that because I know that too, and yes, I totally understand. But in this case, this man is he's very prideful in his knowledge, and he's so sure of himself that I feel like if Ken lays hands on him, he's just gonna be like, this proves my point. Like for him, he needs to be hurt by his son not caring about him and like not wanting anything to do with him, because to hit him means you emotionally care so much that like your emotions are so out of whack that you're actually giving him what he wants, to know that you still care. But basically, like from last episode, blaming Kate's death on him, that broke him a bit. And even being like, just like removing himself, like I'm only here to save Kate, not because I care about you. Yeah. That's like, that hurts his father more. Because like, look, because both kids used to like vie for their father's attention. They literally searched the world for him, and now he's like, I only want to talk to you to find Kate. I don't care about you anymore. Like that's gonna kill that man.
She's terrible.
I fully agree with you. I do. I feel like some things need to be done on principle also, and like even if it's not Kentaro or Kate, they can get somebody to do it, even if it's not them. Some stuff.
I'm saying that might be the best strategy because I'm gonna keep it a buck. I don't think Ken got hands at all. Like
no, I agree. He not.
Hey, I mean, whoa, relax here. I mean, he's a little skinny like me, but you know, he could have hands, but I'm not getting the vibe that he might have hands. He could be, but still, I don't have confidence.
Yeah, that man is a lover, not a fighter.
I can say Kentaro.
Fair enough.
I think after the first blow, Hiroshi might give him a chop to the throat, and that'd be end of the fight. He'd just be wheezing in the corner, looking at him crazy.
I feel like since his hands are what he uses to create his art, I don't think he would risk them. And now, if this was like MMA where he could just use his legs, then probably his father may have a fight coming up.
I don't know. Like, he didn't show up to his own art show for some girl one day, so I think.
But it's also,
he's not really an artist.
But let's be honest,
he's not an artist. He doesn't care about this.
It was for the beauty of the blackberry. So I mean, I gotta give it to him for that one.
Wow.
You know? He was stunned by the beauty of the blackness.
All right. Wow.
Galatians up in here, people. That's what he wanted to make. That is what he wanted to make.
So we go back into the Hollow Earth, basically, where Keiko thinks that they followed her signal and not realizing that Kate's like, what signal? We don't know what you're talking about. How'd you get here? Like, we fell.
That's crazy.
Like, that's how we got here.
It's crazy that anyone's ending up in there. But
yeah, and then finally, Keiko's about to press her. She draws down with the bow and arrow on Kate at first when she's like, who are you? Like, you need to tell me who you are. And then we hear some rustling in the bushes, and May shows up just as Keiko is asking who they are. Like, who are y'all? I don't know. Like, somebody better tell me something. And then finally Lee pops up, but he just, in voice only, he hides behind the trees because he don't want to show her how old he is. And that was kind of interesting. Like, no, in a minute, just stay there. Just talk to me real quick, but it's me. It's me. She's like, you sound a little different. What happened?
I appreciate him not trying to give her a jump scare.
Yeah.
I mean, this was one of my favorite episodes because, like, I feel like Keiko was acting. Like, the one with Keiko, she was really acting. Like the rent was due. And I was like really feeling it when, like, she's like asking all these questions when Lee is hiding and he's like, you know, talking around the fact that he's aged and time's passing. And I like the show does a good job of kind of capturing that kind of trauma of like life passing and like you losing people, and even like her reaction was just like her acting was delivered very well. And I was like, dang, I'm like, y'all back it. I don't know. I feel like I believe I believe the one who plays Keiko, and I believe Shaw more. Like these characters are more believable actors at times than like the younger characters. They make them feel like they most definitely feel like kids do. Like I don't.
And he spoon fed her the information because he tried to like. By the way, I came here after you. She's like, when? Like last weekend. He's like, no, that was in 1962.
Yep.
She's like, wait a minute, that don't make no sense. It's 1959. I said, no. I thought I was here for 2 weeks, and when I came back, it was 1982. And then she's like, wait a minute. I thought the Kevin Hart voice. Wait a minute, what happened?
She was like Mr. Krabs. The world was spinning.
Yeah, she was trying to calculate, and then he was like, "You're always good with numbers, Kay." You know, and he pops out, and I'm like, "This is crazy." And you do see her act out the thinking and calculating she's doing in her head, like, and she starts to panic when she gets to asking about everybody. How's, where's Billy? Where's Hiroshi? Where's I can tell you, Billy gone.
I will say, as much as Lee sort of annoys me now in like the last couple episodes, I felt like he took from his own experience of being so shocked at the time jump and like no one explaining it to him, everyone sort of being around the bush and him having to figure it out the way that he did, and like it'd be like thrown in his face. Like the first time I watched it, it didn't dawn. I was like, dude, just come up behind the tree. But I was like, actually, no, you did it the smart way. Like you said, he spoon fed it to her so that she could digest it before she saw him. Because when he saw Hiroshi and actually understood what happened, when he did his time jump, we saw it almost break his brain.
Yeah, he broke down.
Yeah, he had that one teardrop. I was like,
yeah, and that was only 20 years. So he knew this was about to be a way longer, bigger jump of understanding for her. So I like that, like, he stayed behind the tree, was like, I just want to give you all the facts, then I'll let you see me.
Yeah. And this is kind of where awkwardly, after she asked about Hiroshi and Kate offers up, well, he's fine. And then she does the what's that movie? The Key and Peele movie where Lay's like, no. She's like, how do you know? How do you know? And she's like, this is the almost awkward way of finding out that you're a grandmother, like, because he's my dad.
And then she gave him a bunch of grace.
Yeah, I was like, she is later on I have those notes because I think we flip because they don't talk about it exactly right there, because then they flip back to Tokyo and Tim's asking about the signal. He's back at the Monarch office and he finally grows a pair in front of everybody, calling out Verdugo. She gives him the ultimatum. I thought she was going to be like, because she just says basically, look, you need to think very carefully about what your next sentence to me is. I thought she was just going to be like, get your stuff and get the hell up out of here. But we don't see that actually play out. We find out later that he just leaves. And then we finally get back to Lee and the crew finding the drone, and Keiko had reconfigured for her signal. And this is where, Kate was surprisingly, is my note. Kate was surprisingly nice when she's like, so what's he like? I thought she was finna dog on him right there.
But so time and place, people. Time and place.
Go ahead, Andrea. Go ahead.
Because to Kate, Hiroshi is not the greatest father. But Kate also understands Keiko's relationship is not like her relationship. Keiko's his mom, and Keiko missed her 90% of her son's life.
Yeah.
So to be like, he's a philanderer, he cheated, he's
a deadbeat.
Is not going to be conducive to this information.
For sure. I think she was right.
Agreed.
Grace in her presence in that moment. I think maybe like divulging the truth of how it's been can come like later on, Like
Yes.
it'll be months down the line, years, or just
It can be the minute they get back, but it just can't, and they need to get back first.
Yeah, but she needs
Because,
to
like,
process it like she's barely even real right now.
Yeah.
So
because also Keiko could definitely take it. It could be almost feel like, oh, we see he like from when Lee went back in time and came back in 1982, we saw how Hiroshi was basically like turned off because he lost his mom, his dad, and his uncle, all because of Monarch. And so if like Kate comes out and it's just like, well, he's all like this because you all disappeared. How that Kate didn't mean to disappear. So it's like blaming her for the way that her son acts almost as well. Because we know Lee knows that Hiroshi blames all three of them for the way that he is.
Yeah.
So let her get back and then find out her son's like a chump on her own through her own lens.
Would have been funny if Kate was like, "Papa was a Rolling Stone." Like, oh wait, you don't even know that yet because you weren't even
she
around.
Wasn't around for that one. No. Come
like,
on,
that means
too
nothing to you,
soon.
right?
Too soon, right?
Yeah,
Too
she
soon.
wasn't there.
gotta get her caught up
You
like
weren't
Cap.
Yeah.
What?
You gotta treat her like Cap.
Yeah. I thought about
Steve
that too.
Rogers.
Make a list.
Oh,
Yeah.
Steve.
So then they leave that scene and we have the awkward homecoming for Hiroshi with him picking up what's left of his effects at Emiko's house. And she really cool and really nicely lets him know, like, it's over, but I need you to have a relationship with your son. So when you figure out where you're going to be staying in San Francisco, make sure you let Ken know. And by the way, take this trash back. And she puts the ring on the box as she hands it to him. That was hilarious.
Because that's the least you can do.
That's what you do. Yeah,
That's
I was
the
like,
least you can do.
yeah, I'm getting divorced. I'm out of here. Yeah, he was ready to do it. Getting divorced. I'm out of here. Packing it up.
And for people like that, basically saying, yes, you can go ahead and go. I'm done with you. Have a relationship with your son. That hurts them more because they're just like, dang, you're not even going to fight for me. You're not even going to show the emotion that I hurt you. You're not even going to like do anything. It's like, no, cool. I don't care. I don't care anymore. I'm over you. You're a father. Be a father to your child. We are done.
Yeah. She was really cool about it, and Kentaro didn't say nothing. He was just sitting there back in just looking like,
Mom and Dad are
messed up, Pops. So I don't know what to tell you. they flashed to Lee and crew carrying the drone back to the insertion point, and that's really brief where they kind of sit down. Then we go back to the whiskey joint, the private whiskey joint, and we find Tim creeps up on Ken at this private whiskey spot. And I'm like, how does he I thought there's supposed to be like a speakeasy secret spot where like only certain people know, and Mom just tells him where to go. And Guy Jin just automatically knows how to find his way to the secret whiskey spot. He sits down with him. He tries to compliment the whiskey, and Ken's like, cut the crap. Like, what you doing here? Don't try and come in here talk nice about my whiskey. And then Tim basically tells him about the signal. And Ken's like, look, I don't have nothing to do with that. I don't know how to read this. It means nothing to me. And Tim's like, but your father might. And it's like, I just didn't want to work with this dude. Now everybody's trying to get me to work with this dude. And then we go back to the crew with this drone, and they're talking, and Keiko shares this weird looking hollow earth gourd full of water. I don't know if I'd have drank out of that thing. Just the way it was looking.
I mean, she's been alive for 57 years. Sorry,
yeah.
go ahead.
No, I mean, for her, she thinks it's been 57 days.
Well, it's been 57 days. In that world, it's 57 days. It's 57-day-old water. That's not bad. The gourd. Yes. Not ancient.
I'm not worried about the oldness or the age of the water. I'm talking about the vessel she has procured for him to drink out of. Just like, I'll wait. I'm thirsty, but damn.
I mean,
and then she asked about Billy
all the time here. People drink out of gourds here.
Yeah.
There's a whole TikTok teaching people how to do that.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a regular bottle that maybe she just wrapped with some vines so she could carry it.
No, that was a gourd. Yeah. It was a gourd.
Oh,
Is the whole that was like it had the lumps and everything on it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So they sit down, have a drink, and then she asks about Billy, and Lee relays basically a vague story about the mission. He doesn't say specifically, but we know if you've seen Kong Skull Island that it was the mission to Skull Island that they went to, that Billy ends up being a chicken McNugget to a skull crusher, basically gets snapped in half. And then she asks kind of about the future. Andre, you trying not to laugh?
Did you really? Look, after knowing about this younger Billy, put some respect on his death.
And then, as interestingly enough, because they go to the next scene where Hiroshi is actually watching OG Bill Randa's apology video when he's on Skull Island for taking something, and then Tim and Kentaro show up. Ken, as usual, he has the same kind of question, like, "You mad because I brought help?" Because he said the same thing to Kate when he got Monarch involved, and now it's kind of flipped because he shows up at Hiroshi's doorstep with Ken. It's the same thing, like, "You mad because I got help? You said you wanted some help, so I got some." And Tim explains the signal thread, and Hiroshi basically calls BS because he thinks they're on a goose chase. He thinks like they're dead. Why are you doing this? It's cruel to be digging this up and giving me hope when, like, yeah, the team went down. He's like, yeah, nobody else came back. It was only Lee that came back. So why should I expect any of them to be alive after going into the Hollow Earth?
You know what's just so annoying about him? It shows how much of like a total wimp that man is. Your kids,
Hiroshi.
Okay.
Like, your kids traveled the country for you. They went and fought against Monarch. They dealt with their own. The fact that they were both siblings whose parents were not married, like the fact that they went through all the crap that they went through.
They didn't know they
fought titans. They almost froze to death. They were kidnapped. They were thrown. They were in a desert. They were in Japan. Like all that crap, and you can't even attempt to try. Yes, to try. You are not. What is the words that the guy from Scandal? You are a boy. You are not a man.
And he called him out on it too. He was like, "You're not even trying to try. Like you, like you not. What did he say? Because he was like, oh, you don't want her to be found or something. Like you're fine to let this go." Ken called him out on it, and he was like, "No, that's not it."
Basically, he was saying it's out of the realm of possibility. Like you're chasing a dream. This is not real. Y'all BSing. And
everyone said you being alive was the same thing. And look, you're here.
Yeah, everybody thought she was dead.
Ken was like, "Nigga, you trash. You suck. You need to try." Okay.
Right.
I mean, they even had a funeral for him, for Hiroshi. They had a funeral and everything. He had a little, and they still went and looked for you.
I feel some type of way that like we didn't see any, like we didn't even see a scene with like Kate's mom. Like I sort of feel like
that's true.
He did say he was going to
all those crocodile tears last episode. I would think Ken, because it seemed like Ken liked Kate's mom as like a person, like, you know, like, okay. I would feel like he would go back and be like, "Hey, I'm so sorry. Like, we lost Kate." Like, I don't know. But part of me feels like we should see even just one little scene with Kate's mom, because
I don't know. I feel like
not Hiroshi telling her, but like Ken.
Oh, Ken. Oh, that would be better. I'm about to say, because I'm like, we never really actually see Hiroshi, and do we ever see Hiroshi and Kate's mom interact throughout the show at all?
No, we just saw
which is very interesting. But we see Hiroshi and Miko in that flashback, so I was like, yeah, Hiroshi's not right there.
I don't think we needed to see Hiroshi and Kate's mom interact, just because like it was established in the show that she's already moved on.
Yeah, you know, exactly.
She's moved on. You know, she's like
James waiting on her to be ready.
Right. She's giving this dude to run around, but she
got herself a nice young man.
Yeah, Hiroshi long gone. All right, she's not worried about that man. All right.
You know, but Ken, Sorry, go ahead. I thought you were done. Go ahead.
No, I agree with you with like having or just some kind of acknowledgement like back to Kate's mom. Like maybe it could have been a phone call or something where and or like a face was that a thing in 2000? Was it 2000?
FaceTime. FaceTime was a thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was new, but it was new.
What, FaceTiming?
Yeah.
But Skype was also a thing.
Yeah, it was 2015,
Yeah. FaceTime and Android had QIK. We had video calls back then.
We were alive, y'all. We remember this. Yeah. What's wrong with y'all?
I was moving so fast now. Okay.
Everything
I was in college.
I feel like everything after 2016 was a blur. So, but yes, I would have liked maybe when Ken was in the hospital, maybe talking to Kate's mom or something. But like, I just felt like she deserves to be seen to know like what's going on with her child.
Yeah.
Her
it's true. At the very least, your daughter died. Something.
Yeah.
Have been
she don't know what happened.
So like, if she does know, how does she know? Like, I would have liked to see how she found out.
Yeah, that makes sense. They flip back to Keiko, and they're at the tail end of their journey, kind of, as Keiko is explaining Axis Mundi to the crew, and she's surprised that Kate is picking up what she's putting down, and basically Kate's like, "Yo, I'm a school teacher, I'm a science teacher. I get your theories." They find the pod that Lee initially wrote in, but they still didn't really explain well to me. They just tell us that he was spit back up, but
they showed us that though.
They don't really show it though. They don't show him going through. They show something happening and then him walking drunkenly along the road in Japan. Like they show him
in the last episode. They show a portal open up and him drag through the portal. Yeah. They actually showed that.
I don't remember
saw
that part,
but they don't explain it.
Yeah,
none of it's explained. No, none of it's explained.
That's what I'm saying. They didn't explain it.
No, they didn't explain it, but they physically show it. But I'm assuming was that
I just figured it was like a door opened.
But they showed the and that's something I wanted to bring up last. It was like they didn't really fully explain how that portal even opened up.
Yeah.
And now I'm thinking like, was another creature coming through? Was it because that giant dragon, pterodactyl, bird, bat thing was flying around?
I'm more thinking though, because I don't know how he survived. Like you see them come down in a pod and they're going to go back up in a pod, but I guess Kate fell through. So that's one, Kate and May and Lee fell back through without a pod. Obviously that was my whole thing. Like I said, we talked about this last episode.
So there's like a one line, because I missed it the first time I watched it, but I heard it the second time. He was talking to May, because I think May was asking like, how are we still alive or something?
Yeah.
We fell out this way. He's like, did we fall through or did we enter? It's like time and space moves like differently. So it's not like them falling, it's them like coming through the portal and landing there. And then like getting souped up and then you're landing, but you're not really like falling. It's interdimensional travel. I don't think we're supposed to understand.
It's science fiction.
Yeah.
Forgiving,
Come on. I was tripping though when they get by the pod and then we hear, Titan noises coming up and they're, figuring out how to rework the thing, and then Keiko foolishly starts talking about staying behind, talking about that's not my world. And I'm like, this ain't your dang world. Like, don't you look like you?
He's been there for 57 days. He lived there for her whole life. That's
and she's afraid. I mean, I'd be afraid to go back to a world that I have no attachment to. That was a valid logic.
So you'd rather go to a place that has like wild volcanoes?
I've been there 57 days.
Random lightning strike. 57 days, but you're talking about living the rest of your life in that
I don't care no more. I don't care no more.
You can't expect
the devil you know versus the devil you don't. Because like, if she was going back to 1958, she would have gotten in no problem. If she was going back to 1962, I don't think it would have been a problem.
Yeah.
But like realizing you lost over 50 years, almost 60 years of your life, of your child's life, and you're literally going back to a world you don't understand.
There's
like
giant stuff.
Ooh, I feel like we have. I feel like
and no, I get it, but it's also
sci-fi.
something she has lived in. I'm not saying it makes sense to us, but it's like it's the devil, you know. It's like she knows how to survive there. She survived there.
Got a sidebar here. Related, connected experience. So, like, when people are in prison for long periods of time, isn't it difficult for them to adjust and go back to normal society so they stay in? That's just things I've heard.
Yeah. It is true because they come out, they're like, "What is an iPhone?" Like,
hi, Francisco. Sorry.
What's up, Francisco? Yeah, you just said hey. Francisco Espinado hopped into the chat. Thank you for taking time out of your day. Yeah, no, that is not, because this is such an extreme
and that is a valid response for you. But for her, she lost her husband. She wasn't going back to her husband. Her son was a full adult. She had a granddaughter. Like, she missed so much of the life that she had planned. So for her, it was more fear talking. She was like, I'm afraid to go up there because everything that I knew for 57 days, which was close to 60 years, she was like, I'm going to get back to my husband and my child. I'm going to get back to my husband and my child. To be like, oh, my husband has been dead for almost 40 years. What I thought was 57 days was 60 years. It's like, would I make the same decision? Probably not, but
nobody's making that decision.
Some people
and it'd have been hilarious.
Some people would, though.
It'd have been hilarious to me if they took her at her word and then left her, and then some creature just pops up. She's like, "Oh,
that would have been fantastic.
This is not the right decision.
Godzilla fashion.
I should have been in the pod."
Well, I feel we're going to agree to disagree. That is your opinion, and this is ours. Because I understand hers.
I was gonna say, I feel like a realistic reaction could have been one of two things. One of which is that you stay quiet and you just be in the ship and get to where you gotta go. Just go with it. And then the other reaction is like, yes, Keiko's response to respond out of fear, but like not to tell anyone. They would just dip. They would dip.
Yeah.
They would run away. Like while all the portals open and the Titans are fighting and stuff, and they're like, "Listen, I'm not going with y'all." But they wouldn't say anything to anyone. They
Agreed.
would leave. They would just leave.
They was hiding the forest.
Yeah.
Nigga says, "But Monarch is fully funded now."
And their legacy has been wiped away from it. Monarch
doesn't
respect the Randalls anymore.
Like, they still got their pictures up on the wall.
Huh?
They still got their pictures up on the wall in the building.
I saw Puckett.
Yeah.
General Puckett.
Yeah, I didn't see any Asian people on the wall. I don't know. We're racist there, y'all. What are you talking about? They was denying the influence of these Japanese
Jordan,
people in this
we're here. High five. I gave us a high five.
Wow.
There we go.
So they turned the machine on hilariously to me. I was cracking up. Attracting a Titan that's already on their side of the portal.
This whole part was nonsense. Like the pod science for how the pod works is not even here. Like I'm like, is it a rocket? Like
no, it wasn't a rocket. It got pulled by the energy.
Yeah, it got pulled in.
Yeah,
it had no thrusters.
That's what it is.
They're basically the way they were talking about it was like as if it was a rocket.
Just go with it. Just go with it.
Yeah.
So think of it as like the protective thing that a rocket is. Like when astronauts go up, it's like their protective case to keep them alive going through the barrier. But like no, it has no thrusters. It's just their protective pocket.
Yeah, I guess the thing that was just like comical to me was just the fact that it's just this sphere pod thing that was just like basically just dunk tanked into Middle Earth.
It's an Acme Wile E. Coyote.
Yes. And then I was like,
yeah,
and I was like, oh, it's supposed to just be jutted back up.
Yeah, it's gonna be sucked into the vortex.
Yeah, that's it. There's no flying. There's no flying.
But I said that the first time. I was like, this is a round thing that has like no landing gear. How is this thing supposed to land when they get down?
They wasn't that far.
I was like,
the sphere will distribute the force of the impact equally.
We hope so.
It was wild that it still had power.
This is a funny scene. The dragon pops up and then kicks the cord unplugged, and of course Lee has to jump out to replug it, and just as he gets it plugged, Godzilla shows up, and
I was happy.
I wanted like some John Cena, The Rock, or Stone Cold music to pop in. He shows up.
Can't see me.
They get to squabbing, and at that point, I'm like, Lee, get your ass back in the pot. Why he's watching the fight?
It's a good fight. He was watching what is like, oh my gosh, Godzilla out here got spit with some acid in the face.
Yeah.
Then he pulls out, he's charging up the whoa. He's charging up his little heat breath multiple times and not making it.
Yeah.
Finally gets it.
What are you about to say, Andrea?
So I'm gonna save it until after they're taken up in the pod. I'm gonna save my comment for after that part.
I just want to say the thing. I was just so frustrated with like the other thing, the power thing that was connected to the pod. They put it there, and I was like, why'd y'all put it so far away?
Yeah.
Why did you move it closer? It was too heavy.
Yeah,
they were tired and old.
To push it that much further, they done moved it. Who knows how many 10 miles maybe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sleepy.
We don't just the four that I'm like, y'all could have put it just a little closer. Like y'all knew y'all was struggling to plug the thing in. Move it closer. What we doing?
They were sitting there watching the squabble, and pretty good fight, I think. We're watching Godzilla and him go at it. My boy just basically rips the thing in half. He has a wing in one hand, throws a partial body into the portal.
Loved it.
Activating the portal with the top still open on the little pod.
Crazy.
Convenient.
Now, Lee is looking like an old ass bank robber trying to catch up to the train. The thing is taking off. He almost gets there. Obviously can't. Lee can't get in. He thank you for everything. Bye. And I'm like, great. Go ahead, Andrea.
Here's my point. He wasn't in the pod when he came back in 1982. So why did he need to be in the pod now?
Is it true?
Very
true.
That's my point. Ridiculous.
That part did not make sense to me. He didn't need to be in the pod in 1982. So
why did he get sucked backwards?
Like why?
Why'd they go in two different directions? That should, like you said, should have sucked everything up.
It should have. Like why? He should have been sucked up with the pod.
Yeah,
like he was last time, and so that was one of the one things in this episode where I was just like, that doesn't make sense because in 1982.
Francisco says exactly.
So,
valid
yeah.
Yeah.
And if the pod is being sucked up, you're lighter than the pod. You should have already been through. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, so he can't get in. I'm not sure if that means he's dead, but they separate either way because obviously, again, we don't see a body, and we know how that goes. If you don't see a body, chances are he might come back, or it may be a budgetary thing. Like maybe we can't get him back for season 2, so we just kind of cut him off just in case we need to redo something. They pop up actually on Skull Island at an Apex facility 2 years later, we learn, and Keiko finally gets to meet the grandson and gets reunited with Hiroshi.
That was therapy for him.
I almost actually cried.
I cried.
When he said, Mama?
Yeah. Mama!
I think that held him.
Yes.
He's going to be a better father now.
Finally.
He's going to show up.
What a reunion.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Those actors wanted that Emmy. They wanted those awards for this episode. They wanted all the awards for this one episode.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think if we get a season 2, do you think we'll be on Skull Island now?
No. Well, if we're until 2017.
Okay.
Maybe, but I think
this butts into we should be leading into
Kong
King of Monsters.
Kong.
We're past Kong. King of
God
Monsters.
No, versus. We're not doing this. Wouldn't be in the same. This wouldn't be in the same.
Godzilla versus Monster. King of Monsters came before Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
So it leads into King of Monsters 2017 because that's not 2019.
So, but they do say in Godzilla versus Kong, Skull Island was wiped out. A lot of it was wiped out by a tropical storm. So it all depends, but they didn't say when the tropical storm took place.
It has to be.
Well, we know they're going back though for Gorilla X Kong New Empire.
Yes, but I'm not saying the island was destroyed, but they're saying a lot of the people, like the indigenous people who were lived there, they were destroyed. A lot of the monsters were killed. Kong was like one of the few things that were still there, that survived. So it depends on what year in the universe that storm took place.
Okay.
I don't think they ever actually said what year that storm took place.
And also, we don't have a definite. I mean, I now want to go back and rewatch Godzilla vs King Kong, because like now that this timeline has been better established thanks to the Legacy show, Legacy of Monarch, I need to understand like what year did King Kong Godzilla fight, because if Godzilla messed up the bridge on 24,
I think it was 2021. So, but I don't remember the year of the. I think the movie came out 2021.
Well, but we have to remember that's when it was released. But in the world of the film, do they have title cards that say, "Hey, this happened in Woodham"?
Yeah, I've looked at the timeline. The ending of this show basically butts into Godzilla King of Monsters, and Godzilla versus Kong is after that. Because
right. So this is go ahead.
Remember in Godzilla versus Kong, we see Apex with the Mechagodzilla.
Yes, they already been established. So they should have spent 4 years building that thing and established themselves as a company. So that makes sense. So that's what I was like trying to figure out, and I'm like, "Ooh, where does this line up?" This is beautiful. How
maybe they tested it out.
We tested on Kong.
So technically, if they are either starting their experimented or they've already done it, because based off of the movie, it didn't seem like, based off of Kong versus Godzilla, it didn't seem like the testing was done. So they were still within that 4 years.
They're still working the kinks out
around 2017. Basically, which is when this end of the season, episode 10 happens, is 2017 at the end of it. So technically, I guess this is like the starting of those two movies.
Yeah.
Those universes.
Yeah, which was
it makes sense that they would be preparing. Like, look, we're gonna have to. We can't do so much we could do with fire drills. We don't have to start fighting these things. So they're in the works. Apex is making some stuff that we see in Godzilla versus Kong. So it'll be interesting to see where they place this second season, if they get a second season. Any word on that?
I have not seen anything about it. I have been looking. I feel like Apple TV normally gets like a second season. So far, I've seen most stuff that they've released has gotten a second one. Thank God it's not like Netflix. So there should be a second one. I just haven't seen anything regarding it yet.
Yeah, most shows, I think, unless the budget is just too much and it really doesn't do well, gets at least a second season. It's just that third is really what's not guaranteed. And then because I think most of the streaming services think, well, nobody signs up for season 3, and we're trying to get new people to sign up. So that's usually when something new comes out. They sign up for seasons 1 and 2, but 3 is not a guarantee to get a bunch of new subscribers. So I think that's the strategy they use. What are we rating this?
I want to go first because I was the hater. So since I hated on this show initially, I've come full circle. I was just happy we finally got Godzilla. That's all I care about, y'all. The the acting of the characters got better. All of the kind of family drama had a nice resolution. That was beautiful. I almost got teary-eyed and emotional. So they did a good job on that. So if I'm gonna give it a score, this number's speaking to me. I think we're gonna give it I'll just 7.5, 8. 7.5. We'll do 7.5.
Okay.
I really like the season finale. If it wasn't for this season finale, I would have been like, this is like a whole 5, because there was not enough monsters. But I started developing a connection to particular characters like Keiko, Lee, and Kate was always just a very she was a very commanding character. Like she felt like the hero archetype. Was like, we gotta do this, and I started appreciating her character a little more. And we finally got a dope Godzilla monster fight scene, so I was happy.
All right.
Okay. I would give this a 7.8 out of 10. I feel like all the times where the monsters showed up were great. I thought that was really good. I thought all of the interpersonal drama was good. the parts that were like kind of for me, which weren't the worst, but they were just kind of like not as good. Where uh, there was just lots of times where it felt like characters were making decisions that they wouldn't make themselves. Like they were making decisions that the writers made them make. So get from point A to point B. So that was, it wasn't deeply frustrating, but it was like, like stuff that was just kind of a bit nonsensical.
Sometimes. Yeah, it wasn't believable.
Yeah, it wasn't believable. And, like I said, it's not the worst thing ever. Like it didn't, but it was like, all right, I guess we're here now. I guess they did this. I guess they said this. But yeah, other than that, I enjoyed it. I liked it. I'm sad that the dad didn't get stomped out somehow. I understand why he wouldn't. It wouldn't fit thematically with what the show was doing. That's fine.
I want to ask. Can I ask a question real quick, Jocelyn?
Yes.
How would you feel? How would you feel if they did another season of Legacy of Monarch, and we watched Hiroshi get killed by a Titan? Oh, thumbs up. Thumbs up. I didn't even say it. Anybody else? What are your thoughts on this? I would love to see him die because he's really deadbeat out here. Is he redeemable? I don't know
if he's redeemable, but I would need his death to matter. In the sense, like, is he dying to die, or is he dying to save his child? Like, did he push his child out of the way and then die? Like, or was he just like, oh, did he like?
Oh Dad, no! Think Jurassic Park. Yeah, like Jurassic Park.
You go in there and die for no reason.
Think Jurassic Park. He's being a dumb scientist because he cares that much, and he gets killed.
So, like, no, because I watched The Lost World yesterday, and the guy who died in the van trying to save everyone else, I still fast forward through it because I don't like to watch his death because it was pointless. So, his death needs to matter.
Fair enough, but yeah, that's how I feel about the show. I think overall it's pretty cool. Just some parts were like a bit nonsensical.
Yeah.
But it was still enjoyable to watch.
Andrea?
So I'm giving my rating not just based off the show, but based off of the whole universe.
Okay.
And how it ties in. Because whenever there are a set of movies and they have a TV show that's a part of the universe, sometimes I feel like the TV shows don't fit in the universe at all, and they could just be their own universe. And I'm talking about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because, like, I'm sorry, I never really got how that show fitted. I never got how it was a good show, but it never made sense to me.
Everything else.
It never understood how it fit into the movies. Just because Phil Coulson is there does not mean it's all the same thing. Like it never made sense to me.
Yeah.
So because this show, it like went into more of the lore, more of the history of Monarch. We actually got to like meet characters, because it made sense in the relation to the universe it is set in. So, and it tied back to the first Godzilla movie. It tied back to it sort of like alluded to Godzilla versus the Godzilla King of Monsters and Godzilla versus Kong. It tied into all of those. It sort of like explained more.
Yeah.
And just because I really did like the show, I enjoyed every episode, even when I was like, I don't feel like watching today because like I don't want to take anything new in, and I watched it and never regretted it. The person who's dead inside is giving it a 10 out of 10 because of all of the factors of because of the show, because of the lore, because of the history, because of everything in the show, and like it's
surprising.
Like even I know
10?
even
Hold on.
even
10,
huh?
A 10? All right, you know what?
Even with like the casting of the father and son as the young and older character, of tying in all the different decades and sort of doing it in a way that sometimes was annoying, but really always sort of made sense to the episode, how it tied in together. Because of the storytelling and just the lore and the world building of it, and just the fact that it all still makes sense to the movies. Because I went back and watched the movies and I was never confused. I was like, that didn't make sense based off the TV show. Like, because everything from the TV show sort of tied into the movies as well, That's why I'm giving it a 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10 because it's not ruining the universe it's in as well.
Okay.
It's adding to the universe. It's not like if I like it watching the show and watching the movies all are one universe now. It's not like, oh, you can watch the show but it doesn't really tie to the movies, or watch the movies, it doesn't tie to the show. They all fit together nicely as a puzzle piece. That is why I'm giving it a 10 out of 10.
Okay.
Because it was
Andrea?
they worked on this. This was not a slapstick.
It wasn't. You have a fair point. So I'm gonna adjust my score to a nice solid 8. We'll just make it an 8. Because I did it. I did it. That was one thing I failed to mention. Is that I really did enjoy the tie-ins. Like this was one. Like I agree with everything you said. Like this is one of the few shows that I watched. Like, oh, this is really connected to everything. And I'm like, that actually made the experience way more enjoyable. So I agree with this. I'm gonna give it a solid 8, not a 10, but an 8. You do 8. Rob, what about you?
I give it. Monica says I give it an A minus for special effects and generational family drama with a globe-trotting mystery. I agree with Jordan's observation from a few weeks ago. This is a Scooby-Doo mystery.
I did say that. That's fun.
I'm gonna give it an 8. I do like how it dovetails into the films and kind of wraps itself in and around the Nexus events, if you will, G-Day and other things that happened. It was well acted in spots. I just think some of the motivations and the actions of some of the characters, like Jocelyn alluded to, was not a realistic reaction, but what they basically made them do. This decision making when you know you are way out of your element makes absolutely no sense to me. To try and take charge of something is like, I was in the Marine Corps and we're going on some airborne mission. And I'm going to try and take charge. Like, dude, no, that's not what you did. You've never done this. Why would you try and take charge at this moment? That would be a stupid decision. Yet Kate and Kentaro at various points, and to a limited amount, May was kind of along for the ride because of her decisions. She was never the one trying to take the bull by the horns every time. Those two were. And they had no clue of what they were doing, how they were going to get things. And it was kind of contrary to their lack of experience that they would try and. It's only to the end, like Kentaro was like, look, I have no idea what these signals mean. These don't mean nothing to me. And that's fine when Tim steps in and says, yeah, you might not know, but your pops will. Like, yeah, it's been that way the whole time. You didn't know what you were doing. And Kate, like we mentioned in the when they went to Kazakhstan, she's like, stop, wait, everybody. No one's going to shoot anybody. We're going to stop and talk this out. I'm like, no. I want to be like, who is you? What?
Stop in the name of love.
No fighting to do.
Yeah. It would have been funny if somebody shot a warning shot in the air at that point. See what she did. Oh my God. I was just playing.
No fighting. No fighting.
Yeah, but it was an 8 for me. I enjoyed it for the same reasons many of you have talked about, because of the tie-ins and how it didn't really disrupt the lore. And even when I watched stuff to try and see if anything contradicted, didn't really find anything. With as far as the films, it did actually tie in. It was interesting how they interwoven Billy Randa, especially because he's kind of chucked in there with Skull Island up until that point, and it kind of now they've come full circle with his character and woven him into the stories of everything. I think that was kind of cool, and added Keiko and Lee. So yeah, it was an 8 out of 10 for me. I hope they get a season 2 so we can watch and review that.
And so I looked into it. That's what I was doing real quick just to make sure I didn't miss anything. So far there isn't anything announced about season 2, but they are hopeful that they will get a call for season 2.
Godzilla, where are you? We got some work to do now, Godzilla. Oh, it's Scooby-Doo song. Godzilla.
Where are you?
Oh my God.
Some work.
I needed Rod to say it, and I'm like,
oh, we need some help from you now. You know we're
wow.
Okay. Scooby-Doo is my favorite show, and I literally watch that thing to go to sleep every single night. So I love this.
Hilarious.
Wow.
Yeah, Scooby-Doo song remixed into Godzilla. That's hilarious. Well, on that note, I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to chop it up with me about these things. To the 6 or 7 people that were in here during the live, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to us talk about these sci-fi, fantasy, and geeky things. We will be back. Some of us will be back next week. She's keeping it going. We got another.
Yeah, the song is not over.
We got to sing the whole thing now.
Wow.
She's gonna put the whole thing.
Wrap it up, Rod. Wrap it up.
Before another verse comes in.
Wrap it up. So keep going.
Hilarious.
We can defeat those titans.
Yes. Need to fight kaijus now. Okay. Appreciate y'all. There will be links in the description of this episode on Spotify for podcasts of all of our websites, so you can check out our creative endeavors if you so wish to support us. And we thank you. And we'll talk to you all next time.
Bye.
Bye.
And he would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for them pesky kids.